kill,
no way.
Do it again. Miss. Be able to get caught by the first chains, but 2 chains does.
You can dash on him here.
In between the sand soldiers a lot. He's still got the slide, the glide!
Oh my god!
Abbedagge!
I have TP soon. We can fight. I think it's gonna be good. I will TP behind.
I have no spells.
I'm coming.
Guys, I can't too much. Azir, peel.
Wait, Up here.
Oh, shit, oh, mother.
Oh my mama, Oh my mama, penta.
Genius shot calling.
Oh my god, the amount of beeping. You could say, like, from those highlight rolls that the majority was Excel, so they should have really, I guess, almost won. But I guess the amount of swearing pulled Matt over the edge.
It just makes you crit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I swear.
Through the power of profanity. Yeah, I don't know.
All jokes aside, though, it's pretty insane to me that we find ourselves at a match point now for the Mad Lions. 1 game away from the World Championship, mind you, after that game. So let's start with some of the comeback fights for the Mad Lions. And I want to know from my analysts, what allowed them to come back in this fight, in this game, rather?
Yeah, I think one thing for certain was the fact that XL is overstepping their own boundary, but it's also the pressure. Look, Nisqy's pushing down the bot side. He's been allowed to just pressure them. Now Odo goes back, and then when they finally find XL in a position where Nisqy can just back off, they find a good pick-off, and Odo, who's their most fed member, is not able to be in this team fight either, so they kind of just rally them around in their own jungle through an overextension that obviously came from XL, but it all started off Nisqy demanding pressure down in that bot lane.
I think it's so strange because this is what we praised XL so much for. Like, coming into this playoffs, they seem to be the team that, as the game progresses, they play it with more and more discipline. Kind of how we viewed BDS in spring. They seem to have figured out how they wanted to play the mid to late game. To make a blunder like this and then actively look for the engage when Odo bases is such a big mistake that you kind of don't expect from XL, because that's kind of their biggest strength.
I completely agree. It really feels like XL is making this game so much harder for them than it needs to be, and it feels like they're completely losing themselves in team fights. They're playing into what Mad Lions essentially wants them to do in some of these late team fights, because XL wasn't necessarily the team that used to go for these random team fights when they kind of had their resurgence throughout of summer, but it feels like there's nerves on the line. It feels like they know they can qualify to Worlds, and therefore they're trying to do a little bit extra when they really don't need to.
It might be, because as you say, this is not something... usually they follow the rules, right? They go by the steps of, okay, I have done this, now I can push here and do that. They didn't really do that, and the Mad Lions love that. They love when they can pull you into their chaos and then team fight their way out of it. The second comeback fight from Mad, 10k damage out of Carzzy. That's pretty insane, but I have to say, I've seen this movie before sometimes. When it comes to, like, important series in playoffs, in season finals like now, where Matt pull off fights like this.
I think it's just the pedigree and the names, and for the longest time this did look like a losing fight, but somehow Carzzy got the reset with the Ivan shield, and all of a sudden, I think even in the comms that we heard, I think Carzzy, when he got scooped by the Azir, he was surprised, and he just kept going, kept hitting, and then all of a sudden that BT and that shield just kept him alive.
But it's really just a CC in that team fight as well. He's at a point where you almost know that one extra auto attack will just kill him, but then the Aphelios get stunned up. Abbedagge is forced to stopwatch at that exact same time, just means that Carzzy gets to just stand still and auto attack, and then AD carry dream when you get thrown into the backline, really.
But you still got to execute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, it's just stiffer, so it's like...
That definitely seemed like he just stood still and auto attack the most damaged league members.
How good does she look, by the way? Wow. Glow up.
Pretty good.
Anyways, Mad Lions on match point, meaning Excel is now up against it, and it's pretty frustrating to watch because both these games started in very much the same fashion in terms of Odoamne getting the better of Chasy, or I think in getting the better of the entirety of the Mad Lions and just doing everything he needed to.
Yeah, I think the entirety of XL, maybe outside of the bot lane, just had better laning phase. The solo laners was really stepping up. Odo, of course, actually feeling like he got more resources this game as well, where XL decided to double down, even include Abbe, and of course the Rell limit up there as well in some of the later exchanges around the Herald. And from the start that XL had, from Odo being in this position, they need to stop throwing this game away, because every single time they're so good at getting early game leads, they're so good at outplaying Mad Lions, and it just doesn't lead to anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting because looking at their opposition, right, Mad Lions, it seems like they have taken this approach where they are heavily emphasizing late games so they have more chances. I feel like Mad Lions, even at their best, they did look sloppy, but something that was so good about them is that regardless of what happened in the game, they kept going and they kept resilient. And I think additionally what is looking so much better about Mad is that they're actually fighting compact. They seem to be fighting on the same screen. Even if the fight doesn't go well, they seem to bounce back super, super quick, and it doesn't seem to affect them. And this is the Mad Lions I like the most. The one that is resilient and always loosey and goosey, no matter what the situation is.
Loosey and goosey? All right. Let's talk a little bit about the trends that we've seen so far, because obviously with the new patch coming and the questions that we threw out in the beginning, what has been in line with your thinking? I'm just thinking, Azir, still OP, still good, cool. But has there been anything out of the ordinary or...
I think some of the only things that I've seen, there's the champions, of course, but then there's also the fact that we see a lot of Sterix Gauge as well after they buff that item with some of the HP and what you get out of it. It's essentially what Odo just goes second item to get the pressure every single time. But outside of newer champions or anything that really breaks the pattern, it seems like it's a lot of the same old, same old.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's like we had Azir. It's like this looked like a game that Azir would win. The previous one, Nisqy also looked good on it. I think just Ivan was a champion that, in my opinion, got buffed with the changes in context of what competitive itemization we see and how the HP scaling is on the champion. But in terms of everything else, it's as if we haven't changed patches at all. We look at the bans, it's like the only thing that is really new there is Talia. Everything else are champions that have been high prio. And the only thing where we see the teams get tested is when they drop 4-5. A lot of AD carry bans come in and you get to see like Sivir on 5, the Aphelios come back, and that's like the only dynamic thing really that is new when we think about 13-15.
Gonna cover picks and bans on the desk, so you'll be able to talk about that. You made a note about Abbedagge versus LeBlanc, I think. Was that something specific?
No, I was very happy to see that you know, that lane matchup went back and forth, and the fact that he managed to snag that solo kill, it seemed to be like the ending of that game, because at one point it was 6-1, the double kill top, the kill on bottom side, Alistar falling, they were 6-1. They did lose the first initial Drake, but it looked like they could actually leverage, you know, Excel's biggest strength is just their disciplined approach to the game, but that just seems to be lacking. I think they needed to just convert in a more elegant fashion, this is what we're used to when it comes to Excel.
We are, and if they don't, it's Mad Lions that go to Worlds just off this best of 5, right? Which seems like a regular day at the office until now, and I think it's up to Excel to disrupt that, because, you know, there's something to be said for the fact that 2 times you played actually the way you want to play and your top laner gets ahead and you have control and you give it away. That's a lot harder, I think, to fix than a simple draft mistake.
I mean, something in my gut just tells me that Excel will bounce back. There is just something with not overgrouping, actually looking at the lane states, because that's what they really forgot to do in this second game in terms of having anyone match Nisqy. That on, like, it felt like they had to have every member around Odo. Without him, it felt like, oh, we can't win it, we need to stay around him. And then when they had to send him to a side lane, that's when it kind of went wrong. So I think if they stop that approach and just play a normal game of League where they don't overgroup like they did and group at the right times like they did earlier, they'll bounce back.
Okay.
The curious question now is if we will actually see any pivots Excel back on blue side. Currently we see the same bans, and I'm wondering if they're going to pivot altogether, commit to maybe one of these AP heavier drafts in the jungle with maybe a Peach Nidalee or something. Peach was one of the junglers that I couldn't find his account, so I don't know what he's been cooking, but it seems like he's just been playing as if it's 13-13. So I'm hoping that he maybe brings something more spicy to the table, because the Renekton is being picked. The Tristana ban, I think, is really, really precise against Abbedagge, and I think that the answers against Azir are definitely available. So I'm wondering how they will pivot, because currently everything looks the same.
Yeah, I wonder if they think that the Ivan was a problem for Elyoya, just the utility that it brings, and the late early objectives there we have it.
Boom.
The early objectives, Daisy made it really difficult for them. Even when they had Renekton, they struggled to contest on the Rift Herald, which Renekton really never struggles to fight for an early Rift Herald up there. Last one would be, of course, Tristana. I think it's still a good ban. I think you shouldn't give it over to Abbe. He's too comfortable on it, and it's just the style that Excel wants to play.
Yes, yes. I wonder now if Poppy was the ban that they replaced, the little Papushka, something that is good into Rell, of course, and I think it sets up a lot of the first picks that you want to do on blue side, but Rell has been a dominant force. Alistar Rell trade. This is where Hylissang and, of course, Limit are both very comfortable.
Yeah, and we're probably just going to see the same Alistar come through as well. The question is now, do they feel like they need to snatch up one of these solo laners? The Renekton could be taken away, but we also know that Odo is very confident in playing the Poppy matchup. We've seen what it can do up in that top lane as well. One thing that, of course, worked really well for Mad Lions was opening up the map, and LeBlanc with that static shift tends to do really well on the side lane once that is coming in. So I think that's Mad Lions recognizing that when they split up XL, they look a bit lost, and they want to try and replicate that.
I worry now that just because Poppy is open on 3, if they pick Alistar on 2 and XL does the classic Azir Renekton 2-3, right, then the Poppy value is going to be immense, and Chasy, even though he falls behind in lane phase, the amount of numbers and utility that Poppy just brings to the table, they even slam it on 2. They don't even wait for the alley, they just slam it.
That's the next one, right? You set up the mind game chess right there, and the counter to your move of the counter you just explained now.
Well, that's a Kai'Sa, maybe a Jace. Okay, Azir it is.
And it's going to be Azir. I mean, Abbe played a really good laning phase into the LeBlanc, so I don't see any way that you would need to switch it up. And then Kai'Sa coming through as well. We did see nerfs, but albeit there was a lot to her AP, the W reduction was from 77 to 75. Like, we're not talking about it's a lot. So I really feel like Kai'Sa is still in a decent spot. But let's see what Patrik can do with it.
The main development here as well is the fact that top lane now is being dropped completely into 4-5. I'm kind of curious to see if Renekton bans come in and maybe we finally see some Aatrox showing up and maybe some deeper counters that people have prepared against Aatrox. Obviously, if Mad Lions choose to not ban it, then this is something that Odoamne will lock in again. But maybe Mad Lions are perfectly happy with that because they do have Poppy showing, which of course is a flex pick. But the Renekton ban it is.
I feel like you're just looking for an AD carry here though as well. Like, you've clearly shown from XL sides as well that Odoamne has been one of the main win conditions in the early game at least. So setting Chasy up for as much success as possible, even keeping the Poppy flex alive if you suddenly want to give that to Chasy instead, will be really valuable. So I think for XL as well, they can start taking away some of Carzzy's comfort champions.
Yeah, the tricky thing with all the blind pick top that you can do, right? Usually you see players either do the Kai'Sa, Jax or Aatrox. I think Aatrox stands out to me as the one that has the most synergy with the champions on blue side. I don't feel like the nerfs to Aatrox were too heavy-handed, and I still believe that he has a place in the meta because at least the Poppy W doesn't disrupt you super much as some of the other blind picks that I mentioned.
Yeah, sometimes you see a champion get buffed and then nerfed even harder than it was before. That wasn't really the case with Aatrox this time around, and the fact that he can actually clear minion waves. I saw some of the numbers. I'm not going to list them out. It's going to be too much match, but let's just say that his wave clear is a lot better than it used to be, which really helps the top laner when you want to push side and then move into your team.
Yes. So Xayah is interesting here. Varus is interesting here. I think Xayah into Azir might be hard, but he managed to pull off Sivir into Azir, so maybe he just doesn't give a damn, and that's a Xayah ban. Sivir has been an answer into Kai'Sa in the past, but maybe you want something with a little bit longer range into the likes of Azir, but as I mentioned before, he didn't give a damn. We have the Varus at least.
Yeah, so can go for the poke if you want to answer to the long range that you get out of the Azir, and somebody that comes back from Kai'Sa. Can also just go AP yourself if that's what you're looking for, so very different build patterns can come out from this Varus as well. You know, I think it's really interesting as well that they had to ban the Ezreal when Kai'Sa usually loves playing against Ezreal, but that just goes to show how much Carzzy's comfort is of value in this draft as well.
No.
And that's never going into the
No way.
Oh, no?
Papushka is locked in, brother! Oh my lord! It's definitely a game 3 spice. We're gonna put it all on the line.
It's one of those, you should never pick Lee Sin here and then Lee Sin Smurfs games?
That
Maybe.
could be it. Yeah,
at least it's decent into LB. Like that's like the justification.
Give it a 70-30 on that one, with 30 being the Smurf.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a bit
You are
taken aback by that.
stunned.
Like, okay, so last time Peach locked in a Lee Sin, he absolutely smurfed on it. And you were talking about in Italy, which will also have been risky, okay? You got your risk. I don't know if you're getting your reward just yet. I don't know if XL's getting it either.
This is a Jax on 5? Or is it going to send like a little Jax on 5 into Gnar? Is Chasy going to bring back the spice, or has he decided to take the backseat in this BO5?
I mean, if you want to go
expert,
poke as well, you could go Jace.
Oh!
Like, I don't know. They want to answer on side lane. Now, we have not seen Elyoya or the rest of Mad Lions in summer give a lot of resources to top lane. This is a game where you want your top laner to succeed.
Yes,
I mean,
please.
it is, but then all of the last games, he wasn't, and they still won.
Okay,
so
but was that because of normal circumstances or because some of the mistakes we saw in the game?
Okay, you're right.
Thank you.
The Camille buff is massive. It's like the amount of damage you get in your R
It was from 5 to 20. 15 is absolute
it's
bonkers.
a lot of damage.
Per auto attack, that is.
Yes. Like the base magic damage you get in ult. I'm excited to see Camille. I like this champ. I love this champ.
I love watching a Camille indeed. So we're feeling that Mad Lions got the upper hand in the draft again. So are we just going to see a rinse and repeat? Or how does XL break the cycle with this draft?
Well, You want to go first?
I just think that once again, it's like they have a stronger early game. Lee needs to be able to pressure the LeBlanc, but they haven't been able to convert, and it's going to be so hard with the Lee because the scaling, in my mind, is on the red side's advantage again.
Yeah, I think you're looking a bit of the individuality again. If you can have mid-prior as well, play through the mid lane, see if you can take as many objectives in the early game as possible and really get the game ahead move on the Camille before Mad Lions can, there's an avenue.
There might be, we saw there, the coach, of course, Mac and Cheese from before, now on opposite ends, as are the members of these teams. And again, Mad Lions could qualify for Worlds right here, or will XL fight back?
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for what could be the last game of the day. A quick reminder for the stakes. The winner of this series goes to Montpellier and Worlds. Mad Lion are one Nexus kill away from being that team, and surprising many based on how the end of the summer season has played out. Very briefly, you can see on your screen, it's XL. It's a little bit of shenanigans afoot, and Limit, I get nervous when I see you going forward, brother. I have felt that you have had a bold approach to the series. Some of the calls have been punished. Welcome back. I'm Quickshot, joined by Dagda and Caedrel once again. In terms of draft, I think Caedrel, we really liked what we saw from Mad Lions, as they are the ones now on a little bit of the offensive.
I am so surprised to see Alistar. As Alistar made myself into Poppy, Alistar, Camille. That's really hard to play.
I thought you were an Aphelios mate.
Yeah, we ended that after a week. It's going to be really hard for Peach to team fight. I mean, props to him if he can pull it off. Gives him a little bit of skirmish power in the early stages, but yeah, team fights are going to be very tough to find the right angle, so we'll see how it plays out.
Can I bear with you? Can you bear with me for 1 second? Dagda, as one of the new members to the team here, Lim's going to go in, I'm sure of it. I'll get back to that in a second, and he does. Okay, so 3 for 3 in terms of just level 1 engages, and I dare say 3 for 3 that Mad Lions come a little way ahead. It actually is good that it is Limit starting this fight off. And the reason I said Dagda history-wise, the #1 and #2 highest damage per minute ever set in any champion, any game, all time, was both by upset. First on Zeri at 1,800, second on Civ at 1,700. Trevor, why do you say these things? Carzzy just set the 3rd highest ever in that previous game. As he pushes them away, the numbers will fly up on your screen in a second. 1,664 is the 2nd highest server ever, and the 3rd highest for a single champion. Phenomenal performance. Carzzy is carrying Mad Lions in both of the games so far.
He's had an incredible series. The fact that he managed to survive so much onslaught coming through from XL in that last game and dish out that damage. This man has been put on an absolute mission. Now, it will be a bit of a different story for him. He's going to be playing that poke Varus this time around, so consistent damage will not be the name of the game, but we'll still be looking to get as much damage down as possible with those arrows letting loose.
Elyoya looking for the early invade, going to sweep out that ward and spot out that he's on vision. Does he keep going? He has a lot of top push. LeBlanc can move a lot easier and can provide more in these level 3 skirmishes in terms of setup. And Peach's on his wolves. Could look for a top dive if they want.
They are. Chasy's going to get some support.
Peach is going to be there in time, I think, though.
All right, take a look. That's the flash engage from Elyoya. Near flawless. Odo escapes. The hook shot for first blood. It is traded back. But here comes XL. Sonic Wave resonating. Strike a 2 for 1 to XL.
It's a 2 for 1, exactly it. I mean, Elyoya died to the tower. So that was a kill over to Odoamne. That backfired quickly. Peach in time to respond to the kill onto Chasy. And as much as they managed to get the first blood, I don't think that's worth it at all.
I was actually surprised to see Chasy use the hook shot at all. I think he could have just auto-attacked down Odoamne and then used the hook shot to escape in case Peach was up here. Still had the flash available. So, I mean, great turnaround for Peach. And this was what happened the last time he played the Lee Sin against XL. It was him, or against Mad Lions, it was him getting these early kills. But you can see here, I think he just auto-attacked him down. I don't think you need this hook shot at all.
Yeah.
And then you have the hook shot to try and escape back through the tower, but ends up giving over the kill here to Peach.
Yeah, Peach easy picking that one up. Elyoya died to the tower. And now he has a wave bouncing into Chasy. So XL, I feel like they've always found early game leads towards his top side. Now it's a play finally that backfires for Mad Lions.
Talk a little bit about Chasy in that top lane, because he got a jungle support earlier. I actually ran this graphic earlier, stats leading up to the games prior to this, but Dagda kind of seeing that movement, the fact that Elyoya ganked before like with 3 minutes, that's exactly what you see when someone's playing a Camille.
Yeah, and when you think back to Winter, when we actually had Mad Lions are winning output, actually might have to hold on to this point as Nisqy spots out.
Mad Lions, they're the ones playing forward, led once again by an aggressive play. near flawless, and they get the teleport out of Abbedagge. Mad Lion strike first, so going back to that play, proactive, early and strong here, Dagda.
Yeah, Elyoya's been all over the map at the moment. Goes into top, immediately resets, goes into this bottom side as well. Managed to get the kill for Carzzy and Hylissang. Setting up the map really, really well. And I think this is what you have to try and do as Mad Lions if you want to try and keep yourself pushing forward. A lot of your composition is Nisqy and Carzzy going in with poke, trying to use the little bit of extra damage they have at these objectives down towards Dragon, and make sure that Chasy has that big advantage in side lanes to continue forward.
And side lanes, I think, is the key word for Mad Lions, because they're playing LeBlanc Camille. Last game we saw the damage that LeBlanc can do on side lane. Now you have a Camille as well. And as much as they might want to play around those objectives, their actual objective kill is quite slow. If you're starting a Baron as poke Varus and LeBlanc, it's not going to go down very quick. So they need to make sure these solo lanes are ahead. That's why Hylissang's up towards his top side already. Odoamne doesn't have to flash, no Warden River either. See if he can just walk his way in here and get himself a kill. Chasy, I don't think he's going to be very close to level 6.
Ooh, not just yet. Taking a little bit low. Some minions to play with, but here comes Hilly. Just to get the headbutt. Chains. Shot available. Really nicely done. And honestly, an easy kill, 2-1 on that Camille.
And going back to that stat, you can see the 10% for Chasy in the jungle proximity from winter and spring versus 5% that we've seen coming into summer. It has been Chasy who stepped up on things like the Jace right the way back in winter to get that early win for Mad Lions. And now when the chips are down again once more, Mad Lions stepping back over towards Chasy saying, hey, look, we can give you these resources. You have a great matchup. Let's see you step up and try and be a carry once more.
Oh, this Camille is going to be really, really strong. He's still got his flash, he has the ultimate. I mean, Elyoya can go up towards there and look for another kill onto Odo before his flash is back up with that Camille that's been buffed. They talked about it in the analyst desk. When you ult now, you get 20 damage bonus, which is magic on auto attacks instead of 5. So a big change over to Camille on her ultimate. Going towards that Triforce. Carzzy just needs to clear waves, play safe. He's the wave clearer, poker, and he just has to allow his side lanes to really do the work.
I mean, he had his time to shine in the previous games. And Chasy's like, look at me, I'm the damage dealer now.
Yeah.
2-1, pushing that wave in. Already, Elyoya back in lane. I mean, I think I've seen Elyoya in top and bottom lane, what, 4 times before 6 minutes already.
Odo's dead again.
He's chilling, he's waiting. Odo does have level 6, Meganar's getting close-ish. The ultimatum is about to get thrown. Odo gets pulled backwards, Meganar's about to come up, interrupts the hop, and honestly, another beautiful play thus far. Odo's Gnar buys a couple seconds of time. The hook, the shot, the precision of the protocol, and Chasy gets yet another kill.
I mean, what are you supposed to do here as Odoamne? Literally every time you walk back to lane, there's a different member of Mad Lions. It's like, oh, we're just going to try and kill this guy. Bot lane is completely fine. You can see that they've completely pushed it out as Carzzy, so he's reset. You've got no answer to try and go down there. Peach is up on the top side. Mid, Nisqy's going to be too mobile. And now Hilly showing himself in mid lane as well, just to make sure nothing can happen.
Yeah, just getting a push out, thematic the cannon, giving the stacks over, getting level 5, making sure he can keep this bot side vision. If Abbedagge pushes in Nisqy, he loses his pink in bot side river. He doesn't want that to happen, does he? He wants to make sure he can keep his vision for that bot push you were just talking about. And I think Herald's really important now. 30 seconds on the spawn, Camille's on cooldown. Level 6 on Lee Sin coming through after this crab. I think Exile have 2 options really. Play really heavily into bot side now and get Patrik ahead and try to force Carzzy out of this tower, or fight the Herald.
God, Elyoya's coming back already. I mean, cleanse used. Step into that Tribush, clear out the ward. Keeper's Verdict is available as well. And look at the minimap. Nisqy's roaming down. I mean, Elyoya is everywhere. 0-1-3 has been diving into the task, has been comboing very well. And obviously, on contrast to previous champions who's playing this series, the level of activity it looks to me like surprised XL.
But this is the thing, I mean, for Mad, they kind of are... One of the biggest problems I had with them in summer was that they'd go, right, well, Dragon is up. They'd like reset 20 seconds before it's available, be late to the party, and then try and fight anyway and end up losing out. This is, in this situation, Mad Lions going, right, well, we know we don't have Camille. We know we don't have position top side. All right, well, let's just try and force a play on bot side with Carzzy's ult, and then we can set up for a potential dive. So if XL overcommit to this Rift Herald on top side, well, you have no cleanse on Patrik. You have Nisqy who can roam, Hilly who can dive, Carzzy who can even set up. So for Mad Lions, it's about trying to set up these plays in advance, and it's so much better to see from what we had from them in summer.
Can we see Hilly on this mid wave? I think he's going to get 6 off the wave if he can get this out. There's 3-man sharing it, but after that cannon, if he gets it, I think Mad Lions instantly pulling the trigger. Level 6 Alistar, level 5 Rell. The Herald's getting taken down. They might not be able to get the steal in time. Elyoya doesn't have the smite, but I think they can take the fight. The question is, when did they go in? XL are grouped up as 5. Camille can't go in by herself. Hilly might want to flash over, but his team's a bit too far away, so Mad Lions just slightly too late.
And I think the Hextech ultimate is just a few seconds away there. So XL get away with Daylight Robbery, pick up that Herald. They are still down 1,500 gold, and I think more scarily, is the fact that Chasy is this accelerated, 1,000 up. The first game of the series, where Chasy has had an advantage. Obviously, multiple ganks have gone his way. Let's not forget that fact. For both previous games, the Renekton being piloted by Odo generated a significant lead. And while Peach may think he's jumping onto Chasy, support's coming in.
Oh, Alistar, yeah.
The pack are available. Elyoya's there, Hilly's there. Peach just waiting in the wings for the trigger to get pulled.
Yeah, I'm looking at Patrik and Limit. They don't only have the wave pushed in to dive Carzzy on this one, so Mad able to keep their members in check. You can see the reset coming through. Odo knows he's in trouble.
Hook shot, Elyoya over the wall. Odo hops to safety for now, locked in place by the ultimatum.
Oh,
the verdict gets rid of one, and Odo gets dropped yet again for the 4th time. Chasy gets another. Plate secured to boots.
This top side is an absolute disaster, isn't it? Peach really wants to make the 2v1 play onto Chasy, but Yoya and Hilly are ready for a dive. Peach W's in, kicks the Alistar, gets knocked away by the Poppy Hammer. Odoamne still dies. Now Alistar, of course, Hylissang was top side, so XL can answer back a little bit on this bot side. They've already got themselves a dragon. Next one spawning in 20 seconds. I guess their best win condition now, XL, is just dragon stacking. This side lane is already done and dusted. The Camille will run away with it.
Yeah, and you're not really getting much in the way back anywhere else either. You can even see that Carzzy is totally fine. He's actually up in CS in this bottom lane. Yes, you got a plate there for yourselves, but it's not really going to mean too much in the grand scheme of things. And Nisqy is struggling a little bit against Abbedagge, but as long as he doesn't give over his life...
Hold my breath a little.
The fleet footwork kind of saving him
It's
there.
just, yeah. That was a little bit closer than I think Nisqy needed to make it.
Playing a little bit bold. Okay, so listen, nearly 1,600 gold up. Nearly 2,000 is what I was going to say. 5 kills to 2. Mad Lion's in a great position. Trinity Force has been completed for Chase already. I want to take this brief moment while we do have a large number of viewers. Just a quick reminder of our 2023 season finals. If you have just joined us the first time we're running this, the top 3 teams qualify for Montpellier and Worlds, meaning Mad Lion's finished, they'll be one of those top 3. Go to Montpellier, they go to Worlds. Whoever places 4th, running to the lower bracket. So assuming XL lose, they'll be in the lower bracket with Fnatic and SK. They'll be playing against the Golden Guardians for a spot at the World Championship. That is what is at stake here. Mad Lions right now making a statement this series. I think there's a lot to discuss from game 1 and 2, but a very big improvement from what we've seen previously. And in game 3, this has been all them, all game.
Definitely has been. And we've got a situation here where XL are forcing a split map. They're 4-manning top with Herald, and they're saying, we're taking this top tower. What's your response, Mad Lions? They're going to match. Here comes Nisqy. Here comes Hylissang.
Right, the engage comes in from Limit. There's not enough follow-up. Sonic Wave won't find its target. Nisqy gets rooted in place. Well played. A Shannon strike by Limit. Now Patrik throws down the killer instinct, and that forces the flash out of Nisqy. The Herald was dropped. The tower's secured. Just as I started closing that coffin, XL find another breath of life. Tower will fall. While it's happening, Carzzy's pushing in the bottom lane, and XL, they're at least keeping their options open.
But that's the thing, right? Like, you got Rift Tower for XL, you want to try and trade up with that. The fact you're trading tower for tower because Mad Lions are able to avoid the engage with Chasy getting that nice hook shot means they're actually in a great little spot. Hilly starting to push forward. Peach, what can you do? What can you do?
Peach, that's the kick flash. The hook shot was buffeted. You cannot chase the Chasy. The tower was traded, as you mentioned, Dagda, and as I was getting some hope, you smacked me right back down in place. It is still that 1,500 gold lead. Dragon is up and available as well. And XL have to move away, start licking their wounds.
Wasn't sure if he's going to go in on that engage as they were just about to get out of there, but this still gives Mad Lions, you can see, reset timer is perfect. Carzzy goes back, he finishes his Duskblade right before this dragon is about to spawn, or has already spawned. So now, push in mid, you should be able to move across this, although as I look at the map, looks like they're kind of going, screw dragon actually, we just want to get more gold on Chasy.
Yeah, and it's Carzzy who was the biggest winner there, playing in isolation, 30 CS up. See what he can do on these mid waves. Yoya and Hilly. Oh no, pink ward, they'll spot it off just now, and XL pinging towards that dragon. So XL will get themselves 2 dragons. If they can get an Infernal or a Hextech Soul, that'll really be a game changer the later this game goes on. I mean, if they can start stacking them towards that soul point, just unlucky if they roll something like the Cloud, and Mad Lions are just investing time into gold, whereas XL are investing time into objectives.
And I think one of the things for Mad Lions is when you consider that Carzzy is one of the most fed members of the team, if he's able to get some of that poke down thanks to the Duskblade, and then that gets followed up by a Camille or a LeBlanc, the amount of like setup and then shut down is just fantastic. They take another tower. They extend that gold lead further. Yes, they're down 2 dragons, but this is a mirror image of what we saw in game 2, and we know how that ended.
But the thing is, they've also got wins on both sides of the map. So Carzzy 1.4k ahead, Chasy 2k ahead. So when you get to play for this Rift Tower that's expected to spawn in 45 seconds, you can keep Chasy up here if you really want to, but even if you reset, you've still got Carzzy who's going to be able to come back in, you can look for poke with him, and then use those advantages to then crack up a mid tower, which is the only thing left standing.
And I think the biggest point of pressure that Mad Lions will have is the double side lane through bot. So what they'll do is they'll have Camille down there, Chasy will go on to Odoamne, Nisqy will be right behind him at around 20 minutes into the game, and then they'll just start brute forcing through these side lanes and TP to Baron if XL started. So it puts XL in a really dangerous position with these, well, this side lane being so far behind.
And even if Nisqy doesn't mirror, if Nisqy pushes top and Chasy pushes bot, I don't want to be the person in mid lane trying to defend against Mad Lions in that situation.
Let's put our perspective here from XL. They've obviously got the Kai'Sa, they've got the Azir, there's engage options, there's some bridging tools as well with the Gnar, the Lee Sin to get you towards those late stages. And both sides have had some pretty sketchy moves across the map, across the series thus far. So while it is looking scary for XL on their last legs, there are options available. They just cannot afford to make similar mistakes. I think Limit is a player I want to keep an eye on. He's had some great engages, but some questionable ones. And he really needs to make these Rell initiations work. He needs to interrupt the likes of, you know, Nisqy or Chasy jumping in on them as the objectives pop up. But look, they're 3 minutes away from Dragon. No one's even going to contest the Herald. This is too risky at this stage. And for XL, they've got to pick their opportunity when they're trying to claw their way back into the game here.
I think it's just going to be incredibly difficult. With this Rift Herald now, it's, okay, well, we get to set up a mid. You can even have, like, you can see where LeBlanc is at the moment, right? So she gets to continuously push in here. She can then drift across, as you can see Nisqy do now, threaten mid lane turret with the Rift Herald. You need someone to try and defend this outer tier 2 as well. So for XL, you're then spread thin across the map. And even at the moment, a lot of members committed to this bottom side play as well. So they're trying to cross map, but you're not really in a position to go for it because, well, yes, Abbedagge can get some damage on this tower, but you're letting resets come through for Mad Lions. They'll be able to get onto the mid lane turret with the Rift Herald as soon as you commit multiple members to this bot lane play.
Yeah, I don't know if they can pull this off. Hilly's here, they have TP. As much as they want to dive, I think they're just looking to cover the push out. Make sure Abbedagge can get that reset off. It's only really going to get worse, especially now that they have the Herald like you talked about. 2 minutes until the Dragon. Mad Lions will need to fight that one. You can't afford to give it up if you're really getting tier 2s out of it. Nisqy getting really greedy for that Demolish proc.
Followed there. I mean, kind of reminiscent again of Nisqy's previous game. We'll have a lot to see what happens in tomorrow's series, G2 BDS, where the LeBlanc shows up. Seen some discussion on Abba and Shadow Crown build from his previous game. I know we were talking a little bit about Abbedagge's impact, and I think this game cannot afford any missteps, right? When we do look at Abbedagge's 88 damage per minute, generally his laning stats has looked very good without finals, and finals was a little bit of a struggle. Oh, that's
Hilly's dropped the pause, I think. Hilly's just saying he's got an issue, I think, as we crab rave out of the game.
And I'll build on that point just a little bit. It's very unfair to like shine a spotlight and be like, hey, this is the play, this is a problem, right? But I will say that some of those Emperor's Device, some of those engages, and this is true for everyone on the XL squad, this game, there cannot be any errors. There cannot be any mistakes from this Azir pick, from Abbedagge, if they want to keep XL's hopes alive, keep them alive in this series, Dagda.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be incredibly hard for Abbedagge to have major impact in this one, because when you look at like where Carzzy's going to be positioned, he's massive far back, he's playing poke Varus, he's not really going to be in range. You look at Nisqy, it's going to be these quick in and outs. So realistically, you're hyper reliant on trying to see if you can turn the tide of a fight if Chasy dives in. But even then, a lot of the time, it's going to be trying to fight these uneven fights with Chasy, where you push in sides with Nisqy and Chasy, and then try and collapse. So with the position that you're in here for XL, it becomes so hard to try and take control of these side lanes. Like, see here, it's going to be the mid lane turret gone. And now the Dragon is going to go over towards Mad as they can push you in completely. They win the mid lane prio, so they just lean over towards Dragon when you're underneath your towers.
Yeah, Chasy's got that bot push. 1-3-1 is just so strong here from Mad Lions, isn't it? And XL don't really have the hard engage to match it's only the Rell that can really go in, but Poppy Alistar does so well against Rell in pushing her back, and similar story for the Lee Sin.
I think if you're XL, the only thing that you can really do is maybe try and drop this outer top tower and just go, right, we're going to move Odoamne into a position that you don't expect, try and kill Chasy, get that shutdown on him. Even then, though, that's pretty tough, and maybe then you can lean into some sort of objective, but realistically, with the position that you're in, it's so hard to try and find that time to get that moment, as Nisqy will more than likely, with this reset, TP immediately back towards, I was going to say top side to make that play happen, but it's actually they're going to swap them. Chasy's going to go top, and Nisqy is TPing bot to keep the priority.
So the 1-3-1 continues with 30 seconds on the spawn. Chasy has the TP to join in the bot side, and he should win out against Odoamne quite hard. Mad Lions have the mid push, and they're getting some bot side vision down. Hilly's still sitting on those 3 wards, going to try and take away that control ward, and XL looking like they're going to cross map. So XL may be dropping this dragon, saying, you know what, we've got 2, we can afford to give up dragons, and maybe we can look for something up towards the top side. But I think killing Chasy is a bit of a... It's impossible.
a
I was going to say a bit of an issue, but now that I look at it, it's impossible.
I mean, the other question is as well, like this series has not been defined really about those dragons at all. It really has been about both moving around the map and then the goal difference between the squads. Mad Lions have got the absolute control. Nisqy drops a Pengu and has a little bit of fun with it, but look at the mini-map. Okay, Limit moving into that northern quadrant, placing some vision behind Chasy. Has Mission Impossible been unlocked? Is Tom Cruise on the roster, XL? We're going to find out. Odo's down the bottom lane. Mega Knock has just procced. So he's busy battling with Nisqy, and I think we're going to look at the Dead Reckoning Part 2, but Chasy is not going to be jumped on just yet.
I think now it's risky, but I think XL might have to rush a Baron. I think at around 21, 22 minutes, they're just going to have to force it and see what happens, because the longer this map stay goes on, the worse it's going to get. Especially when Chasy can find time to recall and move bot and start forcing these tier 2s together with Nisqy.
Even the Ravenous Hydra he'll pick up off this next reset as well is going to be disgusting, because it just means he gets so much push so quickly. Doesn't have Demolish for bot lane.
And Odo screaming, oh no! He manages to escape the double TPs, completing Abbedagge, Emperor Divide, lands onto Chasy, is taken down! Mission impossible, accomplished! When he jumps into the face of an Emperor's Divide, XL are gifted a lifeline, they're gifted a shutdown. Peach has got himself the rage of a dragon, and Elyoya is smited where he stands. He manages to escape to his tower. The dragon was secured though, keep that in mind. Teleport committed, another lifeline, another kill. And XL, maybe they're looking for another tower to boot.
They should get a bot tier 1 off that. That's a huge play for XL. Chasy TP'd in with quite low HP, and then ends up getting pushed back and falls. Elyoya loses his flash to Peach, and they manage to get a tower off the back of it. Nisqy's trying to clear out the wave. Maybe he can slow it down a bit.
He's got the flash, he's got backup from Carzzy, he's got support from Hilly. The tower falls, the chain completes, the corruption lands. Carzzy, with the help of Nisqy, find another kill. So it is at the expense of a tower. Abba shifting, conquering, Sands, Hilly over the wall, Patrik into the pulverize. He's flown up and cleanses for his life, rooted in place, and he's distorted to death. But Limit holds Nisqy in place for Sand Soldier to take him down. The shutdown.
Where's Chasy?
XL are coming back. Berlin, do you believe in XL? Elyoya now on the hunt. The Gnar comes out, and we're back to where it started. Odo hopping for his life. But all of a sudden, Mad Lions with the numbers advantage. They're turning their attention to the tower.
Limit really limited the amount of damage that Chasy could do in that fight. Great stun as the Camille came in over the wall, but still, tower goes down. Mad got their kills, and just like that, Mad take back control once again.
I want to believe Mad Lions will just close this out cleanly. I cannot believe it based on what I've seen in the 2 previous games, and XL are showing signs of like, this is how the fight started what feels like 3 minutes ago.
It definitely did. Nisqy has to give up on the chain onto Odo. Here's the TP in by Chasy, instantly pushback. Actually, he was full HP coming into it, just gets chunked out so much by the tower damage and the pushback, and it's Patrik that comes in with the killer instinct, gets that kill. Peach then chases around and gets Elyoya's flash, and anything that plays over. But Mad Lions, you can see on the minimap, all collapsing slowly as XL, they're thinking, well, we need to transition this into something. We're so far behind, let's try and get this tower. And we saw the fight continue all the way to that bot tier 2 where kills are traded back and forth.
If Mad Lions are going to keep making plays like that, though, that's exactly what XL need. They didn't have push in top side. Nisqy and Elyoya overextend, trying to make a play on bot side with no vision of where XL are on the map, and that's why XL are able to punish. So if XL can find these moments where Mad Lions aren't synced up on the map, that's how they can try and close this one out. Like, it's why we haven't seen a huge amount of split push compositions in a while. They're very difficult to coordinate on the map, especially when you already have 2 dragons in the way of XL.
You still think Baron Rush is not the only way, but like, is the priority on that lower now based on the last couple of minutes, Caedrel?
No, I definitely think it's going to have to be a Baron force in some way to get this LeBlanc TP, or at least try and force Mad Lions into you, because otherwise they'll just keep playing away from you. It's Mad Lions running headfirst to XL here. They have the TP on Nisqy, and they are much stronger in this top side river, so XL going to have to bail out. And I don't think Mad Lions are going to give them an inch in terms of vision on this top side.
And of course, Nisqy's got that teleport available because of that previous passage of play. Odo, the Gnar misses, it's flashed away, rather it's flashed away. Chain of Corruption, the tower's down. Without Odo, Mad Lions want to set themselves up for it. Sonic Wave is sidestepped, and that was a great flash from Carzzy.
It really was. Reacts to the jump from Odoamne. It was a bit telegraphed though, and Nisqy was already around the backside. Odoamne probably didn't have information, and here's the 1-3-1. Which side lane do you defend? You don't have your top laner, so you can see Peach going top, Abbedagge is going bot, and their bot lane still mid, and Mad Lions are just going to keep chipping away more and more and more at these side lanes.
Yeah, Abbedagge trying to see if he can get damage onto Nisqy. We'll get some good damage, but now that you've been drawn to the bot side, yeah, Mad Lions going to turn over the Baron.
The damage is quite low though. See if they can get this down. Nisqy's going to TP in to try and provide some more. Abbedagge's TP's up in 3 seconds. Odoamne doesn't have it. It's Peach.
How much of a flip?
It's Peach.
Where's Peach? Can he get in?
He's on in time.
He can't get in. The Baron is secured. 6,000 gold.
Oh, Elyoya.
Magnet Storm down. Elyoya does such a great job to limit the impact. Abbedagge is slain. Limit is dead. And with Baron secured, Mad Lions feel like they are in touching distance of getting back to the World Championship.
How do Mad Lions do this? How do they always just somehow pull it off and get to Worlds? Now they're in such a great position to lock themselves in if they can win this game and close it out.
I didn't realize how strong your scripts were in LEC. Like, this is absolutely obscene.
It's your script now, too.
I mean, 2018 has been the last time Hilly was, or sorry, 2017 was the last time Hilly didn't make it to Worlds. He's been going all the time. Mad Lions have never missed Worlds in the entire time this organization has been in, and look at it there.
Look at the placements on the side, right? Of course, in terms of Mad Lions' performances, they will win a best of 5 to make it to the World Championship. That is a powerful sentence that you will hear many times over the next few weeks, assuming they get this last Nexus, and it's feeling inevitable. The teams that have made it to Worlds the last 3 years from Europe, Mad Lions with a 7,000 gold lead with Baron empowered minions with 2 dragons under their belts. Caedrel, they're looking to push XL to the lower brackets, where they'll be guaranteed to face Fnatic in a do or die.
You can see it's a 1-3-1 with Baron. I think it's going to be so hard to hold on. XL kind of needs a force. Look for a fight. It's not ideal with your comp, but you need to do something.
Well, W comes down from Elyoya. He's able to literally walk it out.
And Mad will just disengage while Nisqy pushes top.
Mad Lions now using these Baron empowered minions. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. 6 towers to 2. Pull the trigger. Take out Hilly. Dagda just cursed him by saying he's only missed Worlds once in many years. He gets taken out, but at the cost of an inhibitor turret. I don't think that's the worst curse from the Mad Lions perspective.
I mean, 6 years Hilly's been going to Worlds, and he wants to make sure that he's able to add one more to that checklist as well. Nisqy gets the tower on top side, and Hilly's smiling even though he's in the grey screen as that one is taken. You can see just how many members have to commit to try and deal with Nisqy at the moment. So on the bot side, you still get to keep pushing. Nisqy gets hit by the boomerang though. We'll just be able to hop away.
Keep your eyes on this mini-map. The rest of Mad Lions starting to surround. Patrik and Limit. Flash available for Patrik. He's stepping back, fires the Acathian Rain. Chasy can get over that wall real quick. And Chasy's got the teleport now. I mean, Caedrel, it's felt to me like Mad Lions have used the side lane threat exceptionally well. I think Nisqy Game 2, Game 3 has been a major problem that XL haven't had an answer for.
I think 2 styles Mad Lions have come into these best of 5s with. One is just slow, steady scaling with the Ivern comps, and one is just heavy 1-3-1 with the LeBlanc and red side countering top.
Kill.
Doesn't get the flash.
Carzzy is the question. He almost takes out Peach in reply, by the way. And once again, while yes, a kill is secured on a Mad Lions bot laner, the inhibitor turret falls again. The inhibitor will follow. Super's in the bottom lane as Nisqy's pushing 3 members of XL back. Multiple waves of pressure. Obviously Baron has timed out, but we're nearing 10,000 gold in the lead. Mad Lions looking to close this out, force XL to face off against Fnatic. The loser of that series will be eliminated from both Montpellier and Worlds.
I just don't know what you're supposed to do here as XL. You're in your own base. The second you leave, something else gets knocked off. And Mad Lions, they have just so much vision control. 2 minutes until any objective comes up means Mad gets a reset, and even though Carzzy died, they'll come back out, they push out waves, and now you've just got exposed inhibitors on both side lanes, and the ability then after you take those side lanes to just congregate and
by accident.
Oh,
Not ideal.
The pressure.
90-second cooldown, and I think the levels are just a big problem. 2-level lead on AD. Nisqy's close to 17. Almost a full level lead top as well, and this is the problem when you're playing against the 1-3-1. If you run around trying to juggle all the fires and put them all out, eventually you'll realize you're just falling behind because you can't stem the bleeding. You have to just make these like huge team fight plays. I think XL were just put way too far behind in the early stages. The Gnar was never really able to impact, and they can't really make the Gnar group and fight because the Camille's stronger in a group, which shouldn't really be the case in some scenarios when you're playing Azir Kai'Sa, right? The Lee Sin can't really offer anything in this draft either, so forcing these Barons just feels impossible.
And that's the thing, it feels like you kind of have to put all your eggs into the Patrik basket, but there's no real way to carry that basket into a position where it can actually do anything at the moment. So for Mad Lions, they just continue to push in on sides. You've got Nisqy, who might get jumped on here by Peach, but 2 members now on the bottom side means that XL are going to be hungry for that top lane inhibitor.
I don't mean to laugh in terms of the seriousness of the situation here for XL, but it's a beautiful analogy. Who's going to carry the basket of sensitive materials? And Patrik, despite being minorly behind, it's a 4,000 difference for Camille, 2,000 difference for Nisqy. Mad Lions have shown up, they've stepped up, and for a team that has had one of their worst splits in several years, they have shown that as an organization, they are able to grow and develop. I expected it in the best of threes. I actually wasn't expecting it today. Mad Lions, I think, may have surprised many.
I mean, last split they even went from 7th, 8th to a championship.
Yes.
You know, now they go on a 9-game losing streak. They look like they're not going to do very well up against XL, who took G2 to 5 games, and now they're just going to 3-0 them, and they're going to dismantle them. And it's just a case of good preparation and having the time to turn things around. And yeah, I mean, Mad Lions, so close to Worlds.
And that's the thing, when you have a month and a half off, you get so much time as Mad Lions to, you know, reset, step away, go on a boat apparently, take everything that you need to come into the series. Yeah, boat difference.
Okay, Dagda, listen, bear with me, okay, because it's 30 minutes in, with 10 seconds to Baron, 20 seconds to the next Dragon. What is the only way XL can get back into this game? I appreciate its silver linings, I'm not anticipating it, but what is the only way you see it happening?
Honestly, see, it's copper line at this stage, because you have to hope for massive mistakes coming out from Mad Lions, not once, not even twice, I'd say, because there's just so much left to try and take. Nisqy, you can see there, like, the pressure that they have with this bot inhibitor down, coming up onto Baron. You've even got the top inhibitor down, like, our inhibitor turret down. Mad Lions just need to take it slow. They're under no pressure here, and they know it.
Doing this one patiently. XL grouped up, Abbedagge, matching levels and teleports with Nisqy. The longer they stall, the more Nisqy's going to chip away. Another tower the focus.
XL don't really have champions that can scare Mad Lions. What are they scared of? A Sonic Wave? A Limit flashing in? As long as they're playing at a decent enough range, they're fine. They can hold them there as long as they want. There's no Maokai ult. There's no crazy Ornn ult that they have to be careful for. They can just kind of stand there and let Nisqy do the work.
Illy coming to back up Nisqy. The recall was matched. Odo's got the TP available to him. Follow Chasy, follow Chasy. He can peel, hook, shot, onto the chain of corruption. Hextech ultimatum is down, and with Patrik dropped, the ends are cracked, destroyed, and eliminated. Chasy gets another. Peach will fall. Not a single Mad Lion member is down. And inside the base, the pack are on the prowl. Nisqy turns his attention to the Nexus turret. Odo and Abba are going to try buy some time.
TP
but in the face of 5 members of the Mad Lions, Mad look to push XL to the lower bracket, and Mad have guaranteed themselves a spot in Montpellier at the World Championship once more.
What a showing from Mad Lions. I don't think anyone expected them to come out of the gates and just 3-0 XL. Expected more of a competitive series, and while the second game was rather close and in XL's hands, just feels like Mad Lions had really good game plans and strategies coming into the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful performance from Mad Lions. Carzzy stepping up across game 1 and 2. Chasy getting everything put into him on this Camille and stepping up as well, making sure there was just too much map control for Mad Lions across this one, and XL just completely scrambled. They didn't know what they were supposed to be doing.
Definitely did. They couldn't really find the direction, a plan. I think their plan in the first game was clear. Early game skirmishing, they weren't able to find it. Plan in the second game was clear. Mid-game skirmishing, keep your lead. They threw it away. And now, here in this third game, I just feel like their comp really couldn't do much against the Mad Lions.
Let the memes flow as the Mad Lions members walk right past the caster booth and all the fans. They've won a best of 5 to make it to Worlds, and after game 3, I think in particular, the Elyoya's Poppy performance, it was a clear message about who was the stronger team in that.
I think it is important to say, though, that it is not like doom and gloom for XL.
No,
they still
absolutely.
have another chance, and they still get to push forward. They would just be going up against the Fnatic, yeah.
Yes.
And to see if they can try and make it, but it does mean now that they've got to try and run that bottom of the gauntlet to get there.
Yeah, what's really important, because of the season finals event bracket, depending on who lost the round 1 upper bracket matches, the seeding would have influenced who SK and Fnatic face. Because XL came in lowest of the top 4 teams, they will face Fnatic, and that means it's elimination. Lose of that series is done. No Montpellier, no Worlds. Let's talk about Mad Lions who won. Player of the series, you can vote on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Elyoya, Carzzy, and Hylissang at LEC. Really tough, I think. Probably Hilly for me. Carzzy, don't get me wrong, he played phenomenally, but I think you need that front line to really stand and deliver.
Player of the series, though, Carzzy was pumping numbers.
Yeah,
you know,
monster.
I feel like the Astral game he did very well. The Sivir game especially shined. This game he did his job to perfection, it feels like, but I definitely agree. Elyoya, Hylissang game 1, not on the same page as much as I would have hoped for in the first game, in the early stages, but then they really came together.
And I will say, just to be a tiny Debbie Downer, mistakes across those first 2 games. Like game 3, I really liked what I saw from Mad, but game 1 and 2, there were some head scratches. It made me a little nervous, a little shaky back here at season finals events.
I will say though, at least I got to see glimpses of, you know, stronger mid-game macro from them. And the early game, as you say, we got to see a little bit better coming into game 3. So I think it is a case of they are workable mistakes, and they definitely have been working on them over that course, the month and a half they had off.
Yeah, definitely a lot of work put in by Mad Lions, and I think that's what you expect from this coaching staff especially. You know, Mac is really passionate about how he wants to drive these players to become the best versions of themselves, and you can always see that Mad Lions pull through somehow.
Well, they're going to be able to face down either G2 or BDS. We'll play tomorrow. Before we get to any of that, let's head on stage where Drakos is running our interviews this weekend.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. A little skeptical about Mad, but it sounds like Berlin is not, rightfully so, after a commanding 3-0. Elyoya, I got to start with the simple question. What changed? It was 0-9 into an instant 3-0 over the second place team from Summer. What are you guys eating different? Are you practicing different? What happened?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what changed, but definitely something changed. I think these past days in scrims and everything, the environment and even the atmosphere has felt way different. And we were really confident in 2 days. I think if you ask anyone in the team, we could all tell you we were gonna win convincingly to XL. And I'm quite proud we showed today, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, game 2, if I could just ask a little bit about that, very much dominated by XL. Yeah, 7K goldie they had at what point? What are your comms like in a game where you're playing at that much of a deficit?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if I should remind you 2021 finals against Rogue. There is still 2 players from that Mad Lions still playing today. Like, we know how to play from behind, like we are used to. Like, I don't know how we do it, but me and Carzzy are always playing from behind, and I take responsibility there. I'm the jungler. That doesn't say good things about me, but yeah, well, I think even though it felt like we knew we were behind and we weren't playing well, the early we got caught pretty much everywhere, me specifically, but yeah, I think they were also not playing well the team fights, and we could punish their mistakes really hard, and I think Carzzy played really well that game. I mean, not so well, but his champ was so overtuned. You saw that time on mid. How did he not die there?
Look, man.
I mean, comms where I'm dead.
When you want to build them up, you show them the last 10 minutes of the game. You don't show them the first 30.
Yeah,
that's not what you show the people. Understandable. I mean, ultimately, you get the win. You get the 3-0, which looks fantastic. And you're going to hate this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. How does it feel to win a best of 5 to qualify for Worlds?
I don't like it too much. I'd rather go the other way.
You want to auto-qualify?
I prefer the auto-qualifying, no BO5, get match hate, then not make it out of play-ins.
Yeah.
Sounds ideal, no, to me?
Are you sad you don't get to play against NA's 4th seed, though? Because you're guaranteed top 3.
I'm quite sad, yeah. I think I'll punish myself tonight and the team for this behavior. It will happen for sure, yeah.
On a more serious note, you guys were fortunate enough in Summer to know already that you were qualified for Season Finals. Yeah. You're now fortunate enough before you play against the winner of Mad BDS to know that you're qualified for Worlds. How does that actually affect your motivation and your performance as a team?
I think it's a boost, but it wasn't like the main factor or anything. But it's obviously a boost, the fact that we have, first of all, something to back up, the fact that we are good. We have consistently proven this year that we've done well. Summer, we don't count those, you know. What happens in summer, we forget.
I mean, 2 out of 3, I'll give you consistency here.
Exactly.
You won today.
Yeah, so we'll finals in 2 out of 3.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, we had something to back up. And not only that, I think we had some more free time. So we came really prepared for these finals, yeah.
Do you think that today what we saw from the Mad Lions, is this what we can expect in series moving forward, or are you guys going to continue to get better, continue to get cleaner as we go deeper into the season final?
Well, I hope we continue to get cleaner, and I know we will continue to get cleaner. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to improve coming into next week, and we will have to, because I think the winner of G2 BDS is going to be tougher than XL's today. And if we play like we did today against probably the winner of next week, or next 2 weeks, sorry, I'm not sure if we're going to convincingly win it, at least.
Final question. I feel like it might be an easy answer for you, but I haven't been in scrim, so I'm not sure. Who is going to win between G2 and BDS?
Well, I think G2 is going to win. Yeah, I think.
The way you said it, understandable. Berlin is inclined to agree. I'm inclined to agree. But the way you said it made me think there might have been something crazy going on in scrims with BDS. We'll have to see. For now, congrats again, Elyoya. Thank you so much. We've got two more of your teammates sitting by, standing by in PGL. Let's send it on over to them now.